Sweden is currently invoicing North Korea for $300 million for a fleet of 1,000 Volvos that were stolen over 50 years ago. That is the kind of place we are talking about. This is not about IKEA furniture and welfare states. You are about to hear 28 facts that sound fake, petty, or straight up impossible, but every single one is real. Laws nobody expected, systems that defy logic, and truths so bizarre they feel like internet hoaxes. Trash imports measured in millions of tons, student paychecks from the government, and a name ban that includes the word IKEA itself. Let's start with the fact that Sweden's waste problem is not having enough garbage. Sweden's waste-to-energy plants are so efficient that the country ran out of trash to burn. In 2016, Swedish officials began importing 2.3 million tons of waste each year from the United Kingdom, Norway, and Italy. Waste-to-energy facilities in cities like Malmö and Gothenburg convert garbage into electricity and district heating for hundreds of thousands of homes. Emissions fall below European Union limits, and ash gets recycled into road construction. Sweden even profits from it, charging other nations to take their garbage and turning it into power. The Swedish government pays high school students 1,250 kroner every month, roughly $125, just for showing up to class. The system, run by CSN, the Swedish National Board of Student Aid, requires 100% attendance for the full amount. Miss too many days, and the payment drops. Sweden's high school completion rate sits above 85%, one of the highest in Europe. The monthly stipend covers transportation, lunch, and weekend plans. The Swedish tax agency, known as Skatteverket, has the power to reject baby names it deems inappropriate or confusing. Parents once tried to name their child Brefex Kisisixmenpisiklal MN Prex School B Waxon as a protest against the naming law. The agency said no. Other rejected names include Metallica, IKEA, Veranda, and Q. The law dates back to 1982 to protect children from names that could cause offense. Swedish officials review thousands of applications every year, and about 1% get rejected. Sweden maintains one of the world's largest scale models of the solar system. The Sweden solar system stretches 950 kilometers from Stockholm to Kiruna. The sun is represented by the Avicii Arena, a massive spherical building in the capital. Planets are scattered across the country at precise scale distances. Neptune sits in a museum in Söderhamn. Pluto has a marker near a lake in Delsbo. The model is accurate to a scale of 1 to 20 million. Tourists and students walk between planets that in reality are millions of kilometers apart. North Korea still owes Sweden over $300 million. In 1974, the Swedish government sold 1,000 Volvo 144 sedans and heavy machinery to North Korea on credit. The cars arrived in Pyongyang, and North Korea never paid. Sweden sends a reminder invoice twice a year, and the debt has been growing with interest for nearly 50 years. Swedish diplomats continue to bring it up in meetings, but North Korea has never acknowledged the bill. The Swedish military operated a carrier pigeon unit until 2017. The Brevduveyavdelning maintained a flock of trained birds at a base in Gothenburg as a backup form of communication in case digital networks failed. The pigeons were descendants of birds used in World War II, and they could fly over 100 kilometers carrying encrypted messages. Military handlers fed and trained the birds daily, and they ran drills to test their speed. When the unit was disbanded, the pigeons were retired to private lofts, ending a tradition that stretched back over a century. Sweden has more islands than any other country in Europe. Official counts put the number at 267,570 islands, though only about 1,000 are inhabited. To qualify as an island, the land must be at least 20 square meters and be surrounded by water year-round. The Stockholm archipelago alone contains around 30,000 islands. Swedes use ferries, private boats, and even ice roads in winter to reach remote island homes. Some islands have populations of just 2 or 3 families. Allemansrätten, the right of public access, is a cornerstone of Swedish law. It allows anyone to walk, camp, or forage on private land as long as they do not disturb the owner or damage property. Swedes can pick wild berries and mushrooms, swim in private lakes, and pitch tents in forests without asking permission. The law is unwritten but enforced through custom and court rulings dating back centuries. Camping too close to a house, littering, or cutting down trees can result in fines. The system works because Swedes are taught the rules from childhood. Sweden has more McDonald's restaurants per capita than the United States. With roughly 10.5 million people and over 400 McDonald's locations, Sweden has one restaurant for every 26,000 residents. The United States has one restaurant for every 23,000 residents. The first Swedish McDonald's opened in Stockholm in 1973. Swedes adapted the menu to local tastes, adding items like the McFeast and seasonal shrimp burgers. The restaurants are designed with Scandinavian minimalism, featuring wood paneling and muted colors. Stockholm is built on 14 islands connected by 57 bridges. The city center sits where Lake Mälaren meets the Baltic Sea. Gamla stan, the Old Town, occupies one of the central islands and is one of the best preserved medieval city centers in Europe. Bridges range from ancient stone arches to modern steel spans. The city's water is clean enough to swim in, and salmon run through the channels every summer. Sweden banned corporal punishment of children in 1979, the first country in the world to do so. The law made it illegal for parents, teachers, or guardians to hit, shake, or physically punish a child in any way. Studies conducted since show a sharp decline in child abuse cases and a shift in public attitudes. By the 1990s, over 90% of Swedes supported the ban. Today, over 60 nations have similar laws. The Swedish postal service PostNord delivers mail to addresses that use directions instead of street numbers. In rural areas where roads have no names, letters arrive with instructions such as the red house past the church or the third farm on the left after the bridge. Postal workers rely on local knowledge and detailed route maps. The system works because Sweden's population density is low. In cities, addresses follow standard European conventions, but in the countryside, tradition still guides the mail. Swedish passports are among the most powerful in the world. As of 2023, Swedish citizens can travel visa-free to 188 countries, tied with countries like Germany and Finland. The passport's strength reflects Sweden's diplomatic neutrality, its stable economy, and its reputation for following international law. Sweden has a museum dedicated entirely to failure. The Museum of Failure in Helsingborg displays more than 150 products that flopped spectacularly, from Coca-Cola's coffee-flavored black to Google Glass. The exhibits include detailed explanations of why each product failed, turning commercial disasters into learning opportunities. The museum's founder argues that failure is essential to progress, and that celebrating mistakes reduces the fear of trying new ideas. The Swedish language has a word, lagom, that means not too much and not too little, just right. Lagom describes a philosophy of balance and moderation that permeates Swedish culture. It applies to everything from portion sizes to work-life balance to interior design. Swedes use the word constantly. They might say a lagom amount of coffee, a lagom response to conflict, a lagom level of ambition. The concept has no direct translation in English. Sweden has a hotel made entirely of ice that melts and is rebuilt every year. The Ice Hotel in Jukkasjärvi, 200 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle, opens in December and operates until April, when the structure melts back into the Torn River. Artists from around the world carve rooms, sculptures, and furniture from blocks of ice harvested from the river. Guests sleep in thermal sleeping bags on beds covered in reindeer hides. The hotel has been rebuilt every winter since 1989. Swedish blood donors receive a text message when their blood is used to save someone's life. The system, managed by the Stockholm Blood Service, sends a thank you text to donors as soon as their donation is transfused. The messages do not include personal details about the recipient. The program has increased repeat donations and created a sense of community among regular donors. Sweden's official Twitter account is run by a different citizen every week. The Curators of Sweden program launched in 2011 and hands control of the @Sweden account to ordinary Swedes who tweet about their lives, their opinions, and their experiences. The curators are unpaid volunteers selected by a committee with complete freedom to post whatever they want. The account has sparked controversies, heartfelt conversations, and international attention. Sweden's strangest truths hide in systems nobody questions, laws that sound impossible, and customs that make perfect sense only to Swedes. From invoices sent to dictators to ice hotels that vanish every spring, the country operates on a logic all its own. If you want more facts that sound fake but are verified truth, subscribe now. Drop your favorite Swedish fact in the comments and watch the Norway episode next.